Hi all. So today I am going to start up with chemistry for class 10 CBSE students. So when we talk about chemistry, we have 5 chapters in chemistry as you have seen. So chemical reactions and equations, acids, bases and salts, metals and non-metals, carbon and its compounds, periodic classification of elements. So these are the 5 chapters out of which, second, third and fourth chapters are very important and they can fetch you around 20 marks in your exam. So chemistry along with biology and physics is equally important in our science subject, and let us proceed and start off with our first chapter, that is chemical reactions and which is quite simple to understand because chemical reactions, they involve changes of the reactants to products. Okay, this chapter has been started with the concept of change. So what is change? The process in which the final state of substance is different from the initial state of substance is what is called as change. So changes, when we talk about, they are of two types: physical changes and chemical changes. Physical change refers to change in the appearance of a substance. Let it be the change in the size, the change in the shape, or change in the texture without any chemical change. In physical change, there is no new substance that is formed because of the change. Okay, so the example is melting of ice into water. When ice melts into water, okay, the chemical composition in either cases is same, but there is only change in the state of the substance. Okay, then breaking of glass. When glass is broken into pieces, let it be in the form of pieces or the whole big glass, the composition remains same. So such type of changes are called the physical changes. So when I take a paper and when I tear the paper, okay, when it was a full paper also, the composition was same. When it is torn into pieces also, the composition, the chemistry is same. So such type of changes which are not giving rise to any new substance, the same substance is present in whatever form it is being converted into, such type of changes are called the physical changes. When we talk about chemical changes, okay, chemical changes always lead to formation of a new substance. Okay, if there will be formation of a new substance with different chemical properties compared to the previous substance. So change in the chemical composition of a substance is referred to as chemical change, and common examples are rusting of iron and curdling of milk. So we might have seen many a times, okay, a piece of metal getting rusted like this because of the impact of moisture. Okay, so when moisture acts on the metal, okay, what will happen? It will lead to the phenomenon of rusting, which will lead to formation of iron oxide. A new type of chemical is getting formed. And also we have the curdling of milk, and also the process of digestion, the process of respiration. There are several processes which are actually chemical changes. So let us try to understand more about physical and chemical changes by taking in some examples. So let us see some examples and try to analyze whether they are physical changes or chemical changes. A chalk piece getting converted into powdered form. What change it is? Guess. So it is a physical change. Okay, ripening of fruit. When a fruit gets ripened, what type of change it is? Yes, it is a chemical change. Okay, it is a chemical change. Then next, digestion. When you talk about digestion, it is also a chemical change. When you talk about respiration, it is also a chemical change. When you talk about photosynthesis, it is a chemical change. What will be conversion of water into vapor? Which type of change it will be? It will be a physical change. Okay, so like this we have physical and chemical changes occurring in nature, which are very important, because change is the basic concept to be understood. For understanding about chemical reactions, we have to first understand about what is a change and what are the types of changes. So let us move on further and try to understand what are chemical reactions. So now let us try to understand what is a chemical reaction. So what is a chemical reaction? So the process in which one or more substances undergo transformation, complete change, to form a new substance or substances with different chemical properties, chemical characteristics. So what is happening in a chemical reaction? One or more chemicals, they combine, they react with each other and they produce a new substance or substances with totally new properties. These substances which are present, okay, will produce a new substance which will be having totally new properties. So that is what is called as a chemical reaction. So there is a total change in the chemical composition of the substances which were present initially and which have being obtained in the final stage. There is a total change in the chemical composition. So such type of a reaction is what is called as a chemical reaction. how we can know whether a chemical reaction has really taken place or not? There are certain characteristics to determine whether a chemical reaction has taken place or not. What are those? There can be change in the state. Okay, state is solid form to liquid form. There can be a change in the state. There can be a change in the color. There can be a change in the temperature. You know, already we have learned that there are two types of reactions, exothermic and endothermic reactions. So those reactions which will absorb energy are called endothermic reactions, and those reactions which will give out energy, they are called the exothermic reactions. So likewise, okay, a change in temperature will also demonstrate a chemical reaction, and also evolution of gas is also an important feature, okay, which will, okay, make us know that a chemical reaction has taken place. So let us understand chemical reactions through some activities that are given in our book. So let us go on and see. So let us understand the chemical reactions, okay, through their characteristic features as we have discussed. So what are the characteristic features that will decide whether a chemical reaction has taken place or not? It can be change in the state, it can be change in the color, it can be change in the temperature, okay, evolution of gas. These are the four characteristic features through activities, okay, how the chemical reactions take place. So when magnesium ribbon is burnt, so take a magnesium ribbon and burn it in the flame of the spirit lamp or the Bunsen burner. What will happen is, you see that the magnesium ribbon, okay, burns with a white dazzling flame, and you get the powder of magnesium oxide. A white powder of magnesium oxide is formed. Okay, white powder of magnesium oxide is formed. So usually a question is asked associated with this particular activity, that when you are burning your magnesium ribbon, before burning it, actually you have to first rub it with sandpaper. Okay, very clearly you have to clean it with sandpaper, because on the magnesium ribbon, okay, it will react with oxygen and there can be a thin coating of magnesium oxide that will be already present on it. So if you take your magnesium ribbon and directly put it in the flame, it won't burn properly until unless you rub it with the sandpaper, so that the magnesium atom, okay, the metal atoms which are present, okay, they get activated on rubbing. The magnesium oxide coating will go, and then when you introduce it into flame, the magnesium ribbon, it will burn with a white dazzling flame, and finally you get a powder of magnesium oxide which is white in color, a white powder, you will get it. And so this is a chemical reaction. And then next, when we proceed to activity 1.2, when to lead nitrate solution, when you add potassium iodide solution, what you will observe? You will observe a precipitate. You will observe a precipitate. Okay, precipitate. You will observe a precipitate. So precipitate, how it looks like something like a curdled substance. Okay, it is an insoluble substance, something like a curd deposit. Okay, when you take some curd in water, you can see that deposit down. So like that it will appear. Okay, so what is appearing? So precipitate is coming when you are mixing these two. So this is also an example for chemical reaction. And next, to zinc granules in a conical flask or test tube, when you add hydrochloric acid, dilute hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, what will happen? You can see, okay, small bubbles evolving near the zinc granules. That is because of release of hydrogen gas, because of the chemical reaction between the zinc granules and hydrochloric acid or the sulfuric acid. A chemical reaction will take place between these two substances, and there will be evolution of the gas, that is the hydrogen gas will be evolved. Near the zinc granules, you can see the bubbles coming out. And to check for whether it is hydrogen gas or not, you can introduce a matchstick, okay, near the point where from the gas is evolving out, where a pop sound is produced. So this is how we can, okay, check that gas is getting evolved. So like this, because of the change in the state or change in the color or because of evolution of gas, you can demonstrate chemical reactions easy in the laboratory with the assistance of your teacher. Okay, so and further learn about the concept of writing the chemical equation.